You ever feel like no matter what you say, people already decided who you are? That's what's happening with Zohran Mamdani. Not because of his policies, but because of his name, his face, his faith, even the way he eats.
We in the West value cleanliness. We have utensils. We teach our kids to use utensils with your hands. This is Zohran Mamdani eating disgustingly, talking about the struggle of Palestine. It's so contrived.
Third holy grail of taboos in American politics. You have socialism, you have Islam, and then you have Palestine. And you are really going for the trifecta. Why is Palestine a part of your politics?
The man can't even eat his biryani with his hands. He didn't ask to be a symbol, but people made him one, and now he's paying the price for it.
This Donald Trump just called Zohran Mamdani ugly, saying, quote, "It's finally happened. The Democrats have crossed the line. Zohran Mamdani, 100% communist lunatic. He looks terrible. His voice is grating. He's not very smart. But I bet he won't leave him alone with Melania, though." I mean, I'm just saying, if you look at the facts. And while we're at it, let's look at Marjorie Taylor Greene. She posted this.
Zohran Mamdani is a Muslim, pro-Palestinian, Indian-born, progressive politician from New York. He says ceasefire and gets called anti-Semitic. He says genocide and gets accused of supporting terrorists. He says nothing and then they call him complicit or hypocrite.
You cannot. The first point I continue to be brutalized for protesting against genocide every single fucking day, protesting against graduations, and you still haven't said shit, but you will condemn direct actions against Zionist settlers. Have some damn shame. How do you pray every single day to Allah? How do you pray those 5 prayers, and what do you ask for him? You made your.
So the comment, there's no way they are sabotaging the most pro-Palestinian candidate, shaking my head. The irony is he's being treated like a religious figure when he never claimed to be one. He's not a scholar, not an imam, not your spiritual advisor. He is a city councilman using words other politicians are too afraid to say. Like genocide, I haven't seen any politician using that word. That should be enough to get people thinking. Instead, it's getting him attacked. Let me show you what I mean. These are the actual comments from my last video. Why doesn't he ever talk about his father? Guess what? He already has. Let me share.
President Narendra Modi is holding a rally in Madison Square Garden. He wants to hold a joint press conference with you afterwards, reaffirming the strong bond between India and New York. Do you agree to the event?
No.
All right, Mr. Mamdani.
No, and I just want to say something here, which is that my father, his family comes from Gujarat in India, and his family is Muslim, I'm Muslim. And Narendra Modi helped to orchestrate what was a mass slaughter of Muslims in Gujarat, to the extent that we don't even believe there are Gujarati Muslims anymore. And when I tell someone that I am, it's a shock to them that is even the case. And this is someone who we should view in the same manner that we do Benjamin Netanyahu. This is a war criminal.
I actually did not know that they are Gujarati Muslims either, because the first time when I hear him say he's a Gujarati Muslim, I was very surprised. Someone said, stop calling him Indian. So are we gatekeeping his heritage also? What's next? Stop calling biryani a Southeast Asian dish? Now you want to gatekeep mangoes also? Zohran publicly speaking out against Modi, that takes guts. And he had made a lot of haters by doing that as well. But he has a lot of haters from Muslim community also, even though he is so pro-Palestinian.
People like me are constantly attacked by politicians for standing up for Palestine, and you are constantly defending the right for Israel to exist.
And here's the real problem. If you are Muslim and progressive, people think you are lying. If you are Muslim and outspoken, they tell you to stay in your lane. And if you're Muslim and say genocide, now you are labeled an extremist. Zohran breaks people's categories. He doesn't follow the script they expect. So instead of listening, they reduce him. Even some Muslims expect him to behave like a religious leader. But again, he's just a politician, one who happens to be a Muslim. And honestly, that's what makes people so uncomfortable. Now, I'm not saying he's perfect. He's not. And he doesn't have to be. Even Mohammed Hijab said he is the lesser of two evils.
Yes, we accept that you're pro-Palestine, but being pro-Palestine is not, we're not Christians in the sense that you believe is sola fide, the idea that you're saved by faith alone, and in this case, being pro-Palestine erases all your other sins. You can do whatever you want to do now, because it's the equivalent of Jesus dying on the cross. Sorry to say, this is not what we believe. You have to be held to account for beliefs. You will not be rewarded for compromising on your faith. And this is not just from a Sunni, I know you're a Shiite perspective, because Shiite traditionalists will have exactly the same view. And there's a difference here, and this is the bottom line, between pragmatism, which is Islamic and acceptable in some cases, and compromise, which shows weakness. And I think, unfortunately, with these matters, it shows the latter, and we can't support that aspect of things. However, we do see that this is the lesser of two evils, and we understand that this could be something, inshallah, which brings the pro-Palestinian cause forward. But as for those people,
the comment, my bad, I thought he was running for mayor of New York instead of imam of New York, LMAO. Zohran didn't create this polarization. He revealed it. And the backlash, it's not about what he believes. It's about who people believe he's allowed to be.
This person did not win because he's a Muslim, but he won in spite of being a Muslim. And that is a civilizational victory. The campaigns launched against him explicitly brought in Islamophobia. There were websites that were calling him a jihadist, a stealth, this and that. The most vile, blatant Islamophobic tropes were being used publicly against him. And still, he won. And it is a sign of integration. It's a sign of civilizational strength, but it also presents its challenges. Many Muslims are wondering, how can a Muslim be a mayor when they're going to have to do things that are morally ambiguous? Sometimes our biggest critics are not from without, they're from within. And this requires an internal conversation. Politicians are not clerics. And it is high time the Muslim community to differentiate a politician from a cleric. It is a very positive sign that the two most cosmopolitan and most prestigious cities in the Western world, London and New York, have Muslim mayors. They were both elected in spite of being Muslim in the Islamophobic climate, which means they weren't just highly qualified, they were so highly qualified.
And I agree with Yasir Lodi saying he's not a cleric, so please stop treating him like one. Let's talk psychology for a second. When someone doesn't fit the box we've put them in, it creates what we call cognitive dissonance. The mental tension between what we expected and what we are actually seeing. And instead of rethinking their assumptions, most people take the easier route. They attack the person. He's fake, he's lying, he's dangerous. It's easier to project discomfort than to examine it. And this is what happens with groupthink. Groupthink doesn't want nuance, it wants sameness, silence, something that's very predictable. Picture a flock of birds flying in one direction. Now imagine one of them turns and flies the other way. The flock doesn't pause to ask why. It panics, it attacks. Not because the bird is wrong, but because it's different. That's what Zohran represents. Not rebellion, not dishonesty, just difference in a space that punishes people for not playing along. So here's the real question. Why do we expect Muslim politicians to represent the entire faith? Why do we demand silence or perfection from people who are already carrying 1,000 labels? And why is it that when someone says genocide, some people are more offended by the speaker than by the crime itself. If we want real progress, we have to get honest about our bias, our tribalism, and the discomfort we feel when someone refuses to stay inside our neat little boxes. Zohran Mamdani doesn't need to be perfect. He just needs to be real. And maybe, just maybe, that's what scares people the most. Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you disagree, that's fine too. Just ask yourself one question. Are you reacting to the facts or to the face saying them? Because if it is the latter, you are not fighting for justice. You are just protecting your comfort. And progress doesn't need perfect people. It needs real ones.